First at noon, the disappearance of Hana Kobayashi remains a mystery 3 weeks after the Maui woman missed a connecting flight at Los Angeles' airport. The 30-year-old's family is still not giving up hope while also dealing with the grief from the unexpected death of her father. Andres Gutierrez has more.
I will not give up until I find her.
Sydney Kobayashi says her sister Hannah, an aspiring photographer, left Maui for New York City to start a new job on November 8th. After missing her connecting flight in Los Angeles, her family thought she was going to take a later flight and go sightseeing.
Here's LeBron James event.
The next day, she was spotted at a Nike event at the Grove shopping mall. But soon after, Hannah's family became concerned.
We started getting cryptic messages. There was things saying that she felt unsafe, she was afraid.
One text read, "I just finished a very intense spiritual awakening. I'm heading back to the airport. I might need some help getting there."
On November 11th, Hannah went radio silent. On that same day, security cameras at this tram stop near the Crypto.com arena captured her leaving with a stranger. Her family and volunteers have flooded the area with these missing persons flyers with the hope that her face can jog someone's memory.
Hannah's father, Ryan, traveled to Los Angeles to find her.
Please come back, Hannah. You know, so many people love you.
Nearly 2 weeks into the search, he was found dead near a parking lot near LAX. The coroner determined he died by suicide.
I think that my dad had sleep deprivation. He wasn't eating, taking care of my family and everyone else before himself. And I think it just broke him.
LAPD said they're investigating but would not comment any further.
I'm trying to stay as strong as I can for my family, especially with my dad's passing. That's literally what's keeping me motivated for the search for my sister.
I'm Andres Gutierrez in Los Angeles.
Here at home, a man is dead after a crash on the H1 freeway near Honolulu's airport. It happened just before midnight. Police tell us that the 20-year-old motorcyclist was speeding when he rear-ended a vehicle. He was ejected off his bike and died at the scene. The other driver was not injured. This is Oahu's 44th traffic death this year. HFD is currently investigating what caused a fire to break out at a house in Waipio. We're told the call came in at around 11:30 last night for a single-story home on Mahua Place. Officials say the fire was small and the homeowner used a garden hose to control it. Crews put out the blaze in about an hour. No injuries were reported. The cause is still being investigated. Now to an update on a pair of lost hikers at a popular trail off the Pali Highway. HFD resumed their search this morning after high winds at the Lulumahu Trail caused crews to suspend their search at around 7:30 last night. Firefighters were able to locate the man and woman in their 20s who got lost on the trail after hiking about 4 hours and were unable to descend the trail on their own. The hikers were not injured and were safely airlifted to a landing zone at around 7 this morning. Tis the season for shopping. The National Retail Federation says shoppers are set to spend 3.5% more than last year at stores and online. Our Dylan Ancheta is live at Pearl Ridge Center with a look at the Black Friday action.
Hey, aloha, thank you so much. Yes, we are at Pearl Ridge Center on the second level, and the parking lot outside is kind of a mess in some areas, depending on what time you got here. But inside, shoppers are eagerly walking around looking for the best deals possible. In fact, let me step out of the way and show you the line right now. That's the line for Lex Breezy. A lot of people are supporting local. Of course, here at Pearl Ridge, they say over 60% of their businesses are locally owned here, so that is a big appeal for many shoppers here. Of course, shoppers are also doing some online shopping, but for many people, they can't help but to support the good old brick and mortar stores. Now, top of mind for many shoppers is the cost. More and more people are carefully budgeting how much they can spend due to inflation and other economic concerns. I spoke with not only shoppers today, but also the Chamber of Commerce, who talked about the business side of things. They said many business owners are aware of the promised tariffs from the incoming presidential administration and how that could raise prices for a variety of goods across the board. So for now, many people are looking to get their hands on some great deals.
I got here at like 9:30. Came to shop for my girlfriend. I got a couple perfumes. Yeah, it was like 50% off was cherry. Yeah.
I'm so glad that the Pearl Ridge Shopping Center has been opening up more stores for local Hawaiian designs, and the long lines are for those stores right now. So that is a huge attraction to being a part of Hawaii, and then to help support our businesses.
I think businesses are right now cautiously optimistic, and that's why the holiday season is going to be a good measurement as to what the temperament is in terms of the near future for our local businesses. But as we always say, regardless of elections or the other aspects of it, supporting local is always a priority for us.
Always a priority to support those local businesses indeed. Now back out here at Pearl Ridge, there have been some lines, but the longest lines that we've seen are actually for those local business stores. We've mentioned that Lex Breezy has the longest lines and Manaola as well. So we'll continue to follow the Black Friday shopping fun here in Pearl Ridge. Dylan Ancheta, Hawaii News Now.
Mahalo, Dylan. And if you are shopping online, there are some simple things you can do to keep thieves from taking your deliveries this holiday season. When you order items, give specific delivery instructions to leave it in a particular part of your house, or you can hold a delivery and pick it up from the post office physically. Officials are also recommending that you use locked mailboxes.
I think first and foremost, the public needs to be aware that these type of things are happening, that there are porch pirates out there. We've had many cases where there are people following UPS drivers, FedEx drivers, even your postman, and they're looking for these people to drop off the items, and they're running up, they're stealing the boxes.
If you catch any crooks on camera, you can email your video to Crime Stoppers at honolulucrimestoppers.org. The president of Mexico says she's confident a tariff war with the U.S. can be averted. The assurances come days after President-elect Trump threatened a 25% tax on goods imported from the U.S.'s closest neighbors. Erica Brown has more.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says he believes President-elect Donald Trump will follow through with his threats to impose a 25% tax on products from Canada. Speaking to reporters Friday, he said, "Our responsibility is to point out that he would not just be harming Canadians, he would actually be raising prices for American citizens."
Where's the plan to put Canada first?
His comments follow reports that Canada is examining possible retaliatory tariffs. Trump, who spent the Thanksgiving holiday in Mar-a-Lago with his family, and Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk vowed this week to add a tax on goods from Mexico, Canada, and China if the countries fail to stop the flow of drugs and migrants to the U.S. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum spoke with Trump Wednesday, but says they did not discuss tariffs. She says retaliatory tariffs are also under consideration, but said Thursday she's confident a tariff war can be averted, promising to stop unauthorized migration. Members of a migrant caravan in southern Mexico say they anticipate additional difficulties before reaching the U.S. border. This woman from Honduras saying, "If they're going to deport us, then let them, because we're already here. What else can we do?" President Biden weighed in on a tariff threats Thursday, saying he hopes Trump rethinks imposing them and that they're counterproductive.
We're surrounded by the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, and two allies, Mexico and Canada. And the last thing we need to do is begin to screw up those relationships.
China is facing the threat of a 10% import tax, and government officials say tariffs will not solve America's problems. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
State officials are looking for more veterinarians in response to recent bird flu cases in Hawaii for the first time. It's been confirmed in 2 locations, a duck sanctuary in Wahiawa and a wildlife refuge in Kahuku. The Department of Agriculture only has 7 vets responding to avian flu, along with other animal diseases, 5 on Oahu, 1 on Maui, and 1 on Hawaii Island. However, the department has 4 openings. Pay ranges from $71,000 to nearly $123,000 per year. The agriculture chair says she's hoping to start a program that would recategorize the veterinarian jobs so they could get higher pay that's more competitive with the private sector.
They're on a different pay scale, and the idea would be to attract, the people that really want to do work with the government to help public service, but need to make a living at the same time.
It's believed the virus came to Hawaii through migratory birds, and that since it was found in a wild duck, officials say it's basically everywhere you see wild birds.
Thank you very much. Let's take a look at your first alert weather. We have big surf on the north and west facing shorelines, and that's why the National Weather Service posted a high surf warning in effect. As of 6 o'clock this morning, it'll be in effect until tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Once again, monster swell on the way today. You should be only experienced surfers out in those waters. Light to moderate winds for your shopping, limited sprinkles. That's a look at your headlines. I'll have your full forecast coming up in just a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Billy. Ahead on This Is Now, cucumbers sold in more than 24 states, including Hawaii, are being recalled because of possible salmonella contamination. Plus, a world's first, Australia's parliament has passed a social media ban for children under the age of 16. Details on the landmark law when we come back. Welcome back. Australia has become the first country in the world to ban social media for children under 16. Lawmakers passed the bill yesterday, making social media platforms like TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, Reddit, X, and Instagram liable for fines of up to $33 million for failing to stop children from holding accounts. Now, Australia's Prime Minister says there's nothing more important than keeping kids safe online.
To make sure social media companies meet their social responsibility. Social media is doing harm to our children. We've got your back, is our message to Australian parents.
Countries, including France and some U.S. states, have passed laws to restrict access for minors without a parent's permission, but the Australian ban is absolute and comes into force a year from now. Paris's Notre Dame Cathedral will reopen its doors next week to tourists and Catholic faithful, 5.5 years after it was gutted by a fire. The devastating blaze on April 15, 2019 destroyed the Gothic cathedral's roof and spire and caused major damage throughout the building. More than 500 workers participated in a massive reconstruction project costing more than $500 million that was financed through mostly private donations. The exact cause of the fire has never been determined. However, French officials said an electrical fault or cigarette may have ignited the inferno. Check your cucumbers. Sun-fed Produce is recalling all sizes of whole, fresh American cucumbers due to potential salmonella contamination. Hawaii is one of 26 states where they were sold. We're told the recalled cucumbers were in stores between October 12th through November 26th. They are labeled with the Sun-fed label or in a generic white or black box with a sticker that provides the grower's name. And one of the best parts about the Thanksgiving meal is the leftovers. Turkey, mashed potatoes, pie, all your Thanksgiving favorites are sometimes even better the next day if you properly refrigerated them as quickly as possible. But once they're in the fridge, just how long will those leftovers last?
The USDA recommends anywhere between 3 and 4 days based on how you handled all of the food when you prepared it. Were you washing your hands while you were preparing it? Wiping down surfaces, preventing cross-contamination.
If you're freezing your leftovers, you've got more leeway. The USDA says frozen leftovers will remain at best quality for up to 6 months. They should always be reheated to 165 degrees and only reheated once to avoid foodborne illnesses. Well, let's take a live look outside over Aloha Tower. Beautiful day on this Aloha Friday. Billy B has your full forecast when we come back.
We told you high surf warning. In effect, let's take a look at the numbers. First alert weather, 12 to 16 feet on the north shore, 8 to 12 on the west side. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but take a look at this. By tonight, that's going to be 20 to 30 feet. That's huge. So it means we're building throughout the day today. Same thing with the west side, 10 to 15 by this evening. What does that mean for you? If you are not an experienced surfer, you do not belong on the water. This is life-threatening surf. Check with the lifeguards. Stay up on the dry beach if you're going to go ahead and check it out. Everything else is pretty much lower than that. So that's the forecast here for this morning, but this is what the waves are going to be like by tonight. Here's what your daytime is going to look like for your shopping, your Black Friday. Pretty much we've got some cloud cover that's joining us, so partly to mostly cloudy skies as we go throughout the mid-morning and midday and into the afternoon, evening. Daytime high is going to be to low to mid 80s, and once again the winds are pretty much 10 to 15 miles per hour. That's not too bad, but as we go go into your 7-day forecast, the winds are even going to go lighter in the next couple of days. So northeasterly winds 10 to 15, copy paste today into tomorrow. Sunday, the winds go light, calm on Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday, that's going to be Kona winds, so that's going to be a little sticky, icky, if you would. We may get some afternoon interior showers and also on the leeward side. And then as we go light and variable on Thursday, once again, this portion of the weekend, really light winds. So enjoy the winds that we do have while you have them. That's your 7-day forecast. First alert weather on Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Billy. It's almost the end of November, which means hurricane season is coming to a close. Drew Davis takes a look back at some of the storms we saw this year.
With hurricane season coming to an end in a couple of days, let's take a look back at the entire 2024 Central Pacific hurricane season to tell you what kind of year this was. The Central Pacific Basin only saw 2 tropical cyclones this year, Hurricane Hone and Hurricane Gilma. Hurricane Hone was the first tropical cyclone of the season, and it developed about 1,000 miles east-southeast of the Big Island on August 22nd.
Hone was the first tropical storm to form in the Central Pacific Basin since Tropical Storm Emma in October of 2019. We average about 1 to 2 Central Pacific formations each year, but we can have a lot.
Hone passed to the south of the island chain, eventually strengthening to a Category 1 hurricane just as it passed the southernmost tip of Hawaii Island. Both flash flooding and wind damage were reported by Hawaii County officials, and reports say several $1 million in damages were a direct result of Hurricane Hone. Hurricane Gilma, which many of you may remember approaching just directly after Hurricane Hone, dissipated before it could reach the island chain, leading to minimal impacts. Gilma, unlike Hone, formed in the eastern Pacific and peaked at Category 3 strength. Back in May of this year, NOAA released their annual outlook for this hurricane season, predicting a 50% chance that the season would see a below normal amount of tropical cyclones. And with only 2 tropical cyclones in the Central Pacific Basin, hurricane season 2024 can be considered below average.
One of the big drivers for our hurricane season activity in general is the El Nino Southern Oscillation. We were strong El Nino last year, going into neutral towards La Nina this year. And that was the big contributor, giving us more trade winds, stronger trade winds. And that leads to more wind shear near the islands. And the wind shear tends to disrupt any tropical cyclones that try to form, especially in the Eastern Pacific.
But just a reminder, it only takes 1 storm for it to be a bad hurricane season. And Hurricane Hone, for many on Hawaii Island, was that storm. Drew Davis, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Drew. Well, the rivalry continues as Kahuku and St. Louis are set to collide in Manoa tonight with a state title on the line. We have a preview of the big matchup in 2 minutes. right, tonight, two of Hawaii's high school football powerhouses go head-to-head for a state title. Kahuku collides with longtime rival St. Louis in the Division I Open Championship. Kyle Chinen and Davis Pittner have a preview.
Hey, happy Aloha Friday and post-Thanksgiving, everyone. Kyle and Davis here in the Digital Center with your weekly sports update. Now, Kyle, I'm not hungry for Thanksgiving anymore, but I am hungry for a state championship game tonight. Kahuku versus St. Louis. This is going to be a crazy game, Kyle.
You know, they have been, the model of consistency when it comes to the state tournament level. St. Louis hasn't been in the game since 2021, so they were in a rebuilding phase. First-year head coach this year with Tupu Alualu, and they were really able to find their stride late into the year, into the ILH season. Playmaker Titan Lackett, UH commit, he made the switch from like slot receiver to running back, and from there he's been able to produce and really transform St. Louis into a run-first team and a very powerful and a very scary run team when it comes to their offense. And Kahuku, they're a 4-loss team. This is the first time they've had 4 losses on their schedule since 2019. So just showing you how consistent and how dominant they've been in recent history and in history in general.
And you know how well Kahuku travels over there, so you already know it's going to be packed red. And one thing I love, too, is you get that matchup between private versus public.
Yeah.
That's what you kind of want to see, and, it just brings the intensity up a little bit more.
Absolutely. It's we talked to the head coaches earlier in the week, and, head coach Sterling Carvalho from Kahuku was, it's town, country, public, private. St. Louis, Kahuku, it's just two teams that seem to find each other at the end of the year.
Well, I am excited. Will Kahuku get that 4th? Will St. Louis come up with the upset? Who knows what's going to happen? You will get all the highlights, though, later tonight and also through the weekend with Kyle. And make sure to scan the QR code on your screen to find the latest episodes of HNN Overtime, the Hawaii News Now Sports podcast, hosted by Kyle Sienna and I. Kyle? What an episode.
What an episode.
What a week. Thanksgiving week.
Yep.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Happy Aloha Friday. Happy Black Friday. Boom.
Thank you, guys. And not a shock, but Moana 2 is a hit. Initial box office numbers are in for the much-anticipated sequel. It brought in an estimated $13.8 million during Tuesday's preview screening. That was a day before it officially released on Wednesday. And get this, it's the biggest pre-Thanksgiving preview ever. It made over $57 million on Wednesday and now seems destined for a massive opening weekend haul. And finally, America has a new top dog, and it's already making history. Vito the Pug was crowned Best in Show at the 92nd Annual National Dog Show yesterday. This also marks the first time the breed has claimed the top prize since the show was first televised back in 2002. The 2.5-year-old pup bested nearly 2,000 other dogs to take home the title. Vito is no stranger to winning. Get this, his owner says he has racked up 25 Best in Show wins over his career. All right, thanks for watching. This is Now, everyone. Have a safe weekend and stay tuned for more headlines first at 4 right here on KHNL.